Hello scientists, it's PS Science here, and this week we're going to try to imagine what it would be like on planet Earth if there were no more plants. No more plants. What would happen to the ecosystems, to the biosphere? What would happen on planet Earth if there were no more plants? Are you ready to explore? Scientists, I want you to think about this. What is an ecosystem? We've studied the Earth's biosphere, and you probably know about Earth's biomes. So what is an ecosystem? An ecosystem includes all of the living and non-living things in a particular environment. So the birds, the grasses, the fish in the pond, the lily pads, all together these things would make up a pond ecosystem. Now let's say there was a forest of trees surrounding the pond. In that forest, all of the trees, the leaves on the trees, the insects, the birds, the soil, the decomposers in the soil, the rocks, everything would be part of a different ecosystem that shared the same kind of climate, and together they would make a biome. Now on planet Earth there is a wide variety of biomes all over the planet. There are grasslands and tropical rainforest and deserts. And this diversity of biomes is made up of a collection of ecosystems. All together they make for the wonderful biosphere of planet Earth. Now on the next screen, pause and write down this organization to help you remember. Make some kind of a graphic organizer. And make some notes about the biosphere, the biomes on planet Earth, and the ecosystems, and how they are organized from largest to small. I want you to think about this. We know that Earth's biosphere is filled with many thriving ecosystems, and plants are an essential part of the biosphere. In a thriving ecosystem, living things like animals, insects, and plants interact with non-living things, the soil, the atmosphere, water, and it works together like a big puzzle. Everything is one piece of a bigger puzzle. What happens if you remove part of that puzzle? What happens if you try to take a part out? Now, there are many things that can affect ecosystems. There can be invasive species of plants or invasive species of animals that upset the balance of the ecosystem. And when that happens, it's like you've taken apart the puzzle. It's no longer a whole working ecosystem. If one part of the ecosystem is damaged or becomes extinct, then the puzzle is not complete. So I want you to use your imagination and pretend that you and your friends who are brilliant scientists have gone off to an island where no humans live. And on this island, there are thriving ecosystems, plenty of producers, consumers, and decomposers, all working together in a complete ecosystem. And after about a week of research, you and your friends are packing everything up, and one of your friends wonders, I wonder what would happen if suddenly on the island there were no more plants. No more plants. What do you think would happen? Take a look at the next screen and pause, scientists, and in your notebook, write which friend do you agree with the most? Which statement do you think is the most accurate? What would happen if there were no more plants? Here's what the friends said. Which person do you agree with, scientists, and why? Esther said, if the plants die, then only the predators on the island will be able to live. Donald disagreed. He said, if all the plants on the island die, then eventually all of the animals will die too. Leodore said, well, if the plants die, then the animals that eat plants will die, but the animals that eat plants and animals will survive. And last, Agnes said, if all the plants die, I think that all of the animals will eventually become meat eaters so that they can survive without plants. Who do you agree with, scientists? Which one do you think gives the best answer for what would happen on the island if suddenly there were no more plants? That can really happen. Ecosystems can fail, and the plants in an ecosystem might die. There's a branch of science called botany, and scientists who study plants are called botanists. So in ecosystems where the plants are failing, they do research to understand what the problems are and how they can fix the problems. And scientists have also tried to recreate ecosystems. There was a very famous research facility called Biosphere 2, and it was modeled after Biosphere 1. It's easy to guess that Biosphere 1 was planet Earth. Biosphere 2 was built by humans, and it was designed to be a self-sustaining ecosystem with several different biomes inside, and the scientists would go in and they would be sealed in and they would stay in there for several years, producing their own food and trying to maintain a sustainable ecosystem. It didn't turn out exactly as planned, but still it was a valuable research experiment in botany and in ecosystems. If you would like to make your own self-sustaining ecosystem, you only need a few supplies. You can use a recycled glass jar with a lid. You need some gravel, you need some dirt, a little bit of water, and a small plant. Now, as far as the dirt, it would be great if you got some soil from the compost so that you have some FBIs, some fungus, bacteria, and invertebrates that you can keep in your enclosed system. Let's give it a try. So here's what you're going to need: a glass jar with a lid, some gravel, some soil, preferably something that's organic with some FBIs in it, and a small plant. A succulent would be great, but any small plant, and a spray bottle with some water in it. So this is a really basic setup, but it will be a working ecosystem. I took a jar, a old jelly jar, washed it out, it's got a lid, and what you want to do on the bottom is add a layer of gravel. And on top of the gravel, you want to put a layer of dirt. So I'm adding the dirt over the gravel. Got this out of the compost pile so that it will have plenty of FBIs in it. And then I'm going to actually use, you could use a piece of screen if you have it, like a window screen, but I don't have any screen, so I'm going to actually cut a piece of paper towel to put on the dirt just to add as an extra filter for now. I bet you're really wishing you could watch me trace a circle, right? But I don't have my document camera set up right now. So just trace a circle using the lid. That way it will be about the size of the jar. Let me hold it up so you can admire my handiwork, okay? And cut it out. And then you can add that circle of paper towel or screen, which is better if you have it, over the dirt, just to act, like I said, as a little bit of a filter. And then on the inside, let me pick that down with something. On the inside and on top of that, I'm going to put my tiny little succulent. Drop it down in there, straighten it out. Now the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this with some water. So I have my reused bottle, H2O. Spray it in. You don't want to get it too wet. You don't want the bottom of the jar to fill up with water, but you want to get it moist enough. And then put the lid on. And voila, you will eventually have a working ecosystem. Now you might say, well, how can that be? There's nothing alive in there. But remember, I got the dirt from the compost pile, so there's going to be FBIs, fungus, bacteria, and hopefully some invertebrates. Okay? So a mini ecosystem in a jar. So scientists, here's the part of the video where Miss Sherry says one more thing. Your last challenge for today is to create an imaginary scenario. You and your brilliant scientist friends have created a thriving ecosystem on Mars called Biosphere 3. And everything in the ecosystem is going really, really well. It's a success. Humans are going to be able to live on Mars until one night the evil anti-hero Brown Thumb gets into the Biosphere 3, and suddenly all of the plants begin to die. Remember, you can do anything you want. You can make a puppet show, you can make a video, you can do an interview. Be creative, but we want to see, how are you going to solve this problem? Scientists, I can't wait to see what you come up with. What are you going to do to solve the problem? How can you save the ecosystem? Thanks for your hard work. I'll see you next time. Okay, scientists, thanks for watching. Did you enjoy that lesson? Subscribe below to see more fun science videos. You can also become a member of PS Science on Patreon to support what we're doing. See you next time.